Good afternoon. It's great to see such a high energy level at this stage of the day. I'm very impressed. I'd like you to guess, to begin with, what these kids are telling you. I'm going to give you the answer at the end, just to keep you alert. First of all, I'm going to invite you to share a journey that I've been making. Really, I think it was 10 years. I said to Stuart earlier, it's his fault, 10 years ago. TBN, one of their straplines is this: be moved, be part of the movement. Oh, gosh. Where do we go? Well, I was moved 10 years ago at the TBN conference by some statistics which Stuart showed on the screen, similar to the ones that he showed today. And I was aghast. I'd never been exposed to these numbers about poverty before. And I was tearful, literally. I was then further moved when I went on an expo trip to Uganda. What an amazing country that is. And that moved me on many levels. And again, I was moved to tears when I returned to the UK and felt how helpless I felt, because I knew there were things that I could do, but I didn't know how I could do them. One of the things that also brought me to consider is, who is my neighbour? There's a big issue that affects about 3 billion of our neighbours. We heard a little about it already this morning. It causes around 2 million deaths a year. It causes climate change, deforestation, and fuel poverty. What that means is that to meet their daily cooking needs, people can spend 20 to 25% of their income on fuel, wood, animal dung, maybe they don't buy that, or charcoal, which is the most common purchase. The fumes from the stoves kill people, mainly women and children. So I met somebody on my expo to Uganda, and he invited me. He said, well, you know, we're a distribution company, you're an engineer. Can you help us to design a stove? And I said, what's a stove? I didn't know anything about this. Because I run a company called Metalrax. It's a group of engineering companies based in the UK. It's a public listed company. I'm a turnaround guy. That's what I do for a living. I'm an engineer first, and then I turn around businesses that are dying, and this one was truly dying. Meanwhile, having been to Uganda, part of TBN, I was challenged to see if we could design a stove. So I invited 12 people from around the group, around the UK, to go and visit Africa to find out more about cooking stoves. They came back and they started the process of designing a stove. And here you can see some of our iterations. I'm sorry about the silhouette, but one of our partners has asked us not to show photographs. But if you peer at the thing down here at the front, you get a pretty good clue. So we've designed a stove. Andrew Caldwell's here with me today. He's the main guy, really. He's a star in disguise. These are the savings that we're achieving on the standard test. This compares the stove to a locally produced charcoal stove. And you can see there it's saving 36% on fuel, 35% less CO2 emissions, which of course cuts down the environmental impact, 20% less carbon monoxide, which is one of the biggest killers. And also it saves people time, which is really important. Now, these statistics are very prudent because actually, in real life, it's saving more than 50% of fuel. Because this is just to boil a pan of water. In reality, you keep on boiling for a few hours. So it saves a lot more fuel. We've run a number of programs. We've had lots of staff involved in it. We have 2 people that we're partnering with right now, Carbo Co., which is a kind of sister company to Tough Stuff, which you've heard about a few times today. And the Paradigm Project, which you also heard about today. Steve Beck mentioned it this morning. We've done many successful laboratory tests and development, and we've done quite a lot now of successful field trials. And these are the ones that give the most joy, because you see how it truly can impact on people's lives. And people The next slide actually says it all for me. They say things like, it's what we've been asking for. And when Andy went out to Madagascar, I think it was about a year ago with the first version of this, and people were actually saving half the money that they normally spend on buying charcoal. That's great news. Now you're going to get to find out what these children are telling you. At the end of every trial, we ask people to give it a score out of 10. And that's what they're giving it. The average in the first trial was 9.6 out of 10. We have found that people are over-enthusiastic about this, mind you, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But nonetheless, it's still rewarding and encouraging. So this has been a journey from sitting here in tears listening to Stuart's statistics, or the statistics that Stuart told us, from being in tears on New Year's Eve around the dinner table trying to figure out what I could do with the things that I'd learned in Uganda, to designing a stove, which is now pretty well production ready. We have 2 distribution partners. I have complete faith that that's going to be a success. So what are the next steps? Well, Metalrax is an engineering company, which is a turnaround. Guess what turnaround companies don't have very much of? Money. And it's a PLC, and this is a startup. So Metalrax probably shouldn't be funding this for much longer. So we can kind of carry on at the slow pace that we're going, or we can ramp it up. And I think we're going to be ramping it up because this is ready to go. So we're going to start and we're going to raise some money, and that money is going to provide funds for working capital to finish the development and also to get the production moving. We believe that we could sell up to 500,000 of these a year, and that will take some money to get that going. We need to further enhance the durability in some areas. We need to thicken the thing up a bit and finalize the design. We need to prove our own supply chain. This is probably going to have to be made in China, at least initially. And we've got some challenges there. We can do it with expensive, well-capable Chinese suppliers who we don't trust. And we can do it with people who we do trust, who need a lot of education. That takes time and money as well. We need to further test the market. We're hoping to do a big trial in Kenya this year, a very scaled-up trial in the market. And we need to ramp up the production. So those are the things that we have to do. And it's a great journey that I've been on. Very much looking forward to the rest. If you do want to see more of the stove, it's here with us. Andy's sitting at the table. We have a number of follow-on products already in the pipeline too, which is really exciting. Things like a dual burning stove, a bigger size stove for bigger families. There's a pan and a pan skirt on the table there. People seem to want to buy more and more things associated with this. So we're really looking forward to it.
What's the price point and whether this is only coal or whether it's wood and coal?
Okay, that's a really good question. Yeah, there's wood stoves and there are charcoal stoves. This is a charcoal stove. We've designed it to be that specifically. We have a wood stove in the pipeline, but this is for charcoal. There's a really interesting marketing debate going on between our 2 partners. Well, they're not debating with each other. They're debating themselves about how you price this. The one model is to heavily subsidize it using carbon offsets and have a selling price of around $3 in country. And you can imagine there's a heavy subsidy there. That model has some interesting things because it could open up a very high volume because it makes it more affordable to more people. There's an argument against that, which is that it devalues it to the point which people won't respect it, and they probably won't carry on using it for the full 5 years that you'd need to get your carbon money back. So that business model is probably quite high risk. The Paradigm business model would price this as that their model is to have many stoves on offer. They already have 2, 3 wood stoves nearly. And this would be their first charcoal stove, but they would add to their range as well. And they believe in offering people a choice at different levels, which is kind of quite common and logical here. And in their model, this would be at a price point north of $20, and it would be it would be a premium stove. If you can see it, you'll see that it's one of its greatest features is it looks really smart. And actually, we didn't set out to make it look really smart. Well, I didn't. The engineers did, because engineers do things like that. But it really looks smart. It's very attractive. And ironically, although it's not meant for this, one of the main reasons people want to buy it is because they want it in their kitchen or in their house, because it looks really smart compared to what they're used to. So that makes this a premium level. We have also in the pipeline a lower level one, which wouldn't last as long, but it would be a lower point. So it's not yet, the two models will probably run, and one will prove to be correct, or both will prove to be correct.
Thank you, Andrew.